to this episode of Sunny Silver Linings. Sunny's guest today is Amy Kardel. Amy is the Vice President of Strategic Workforce Relations at CompTIA. Amy brings to us a wealth of knowledge and advice to IT professionals and beyond, walking us through her journey in the tech industry and giving great advice on how to utilize lifelong learning skills. And now, your host, the founder and CEO of IT by Design, Mr. Sunny Kaila. Over to you, Sunny.
Amy, thank you so much for joining me today. I am just super excited about our conversation because I have a very special guest with me today, and someone who has been with us, our dear friend, and a thought leader in the channel. And when you look at the entire ecosystem, MSP ecosystem, and Amy, not only she has been an entrepreneur, that having that hands-on experience, but also she is she's the VP of CompTIA, and where her focus is mainly the strategic workforce relationships at CompTIA. And we had not around this time, probably a month prior to March, so February, we were together in India. And that's when we had a lot of conversations. You did talk to our women IT professionals there as well, Amy, and it was such a wonderful trip. And thank you for having that trip with us.
Yes. Well, it's amazing to think that we got that trip in right before things locked down, and, things are starting to loosen up. But I think all of us are ready to get back to seeing people face to face and travel. And, we have memories of travel. And I just realized this weekend I was going to check all my immunizations and check my passport and make sure if I could travel again, I was ready to go, because seeing people face to face makes a big difference. So
definitely, we are all desperate to get out and just kind of, experience the world, what we used to experience. And it's been over a year. That timing was so kind of, we came back in the month of March, and then this whole kind of pandemic started. And by the way, you're welcome to join us at the end of this year. We are taking our partners back in Q4 is the partner retreat.
Well, I'd love to join you again. I did some shopping while I was there, friends, and I put this behind me because it's a basket that actually Sunny loaned me some cash at the market because I didn't change enough money. But it was a really great deal, and it's my picnic basket from India. So yeah, I really, in so many ways, enjoyed that trip. And spending time on a field trip with other professionals and peers is really important. I think it'll be even more important because we've all been interacting virtually, like we said. So I'll take you up on that invitation and see if that can work out. What was so interesting to me was the real eagerness of your team to learn and grow. They were so excited to meet us, visiting, clients and thought leadership. And I'm so glad I got to share with the ladies. And, diversity in IT is a huge issue in my job, and we're really working on that and looking at the job market in general. It's a big deal. And the pandemic has exposed a lot of things that we need to think about anyway. And we're really lucky to be in the industry we're in, aren't we?
Yes, no, absolutely, absolutely. And CompTIA is the voice of world's IT industry. Globally, you have that authority over IT industry. And so, there's so much. So whenever I have conversations with my MSP friends, MSP owners, and they always talk about the struggle that they're going through in terms of finding right talent and technical talent. And you are the expert in that area. And what pandemic did, Amy, kind of with the remote workforce and with the remote workplace setups, with the cloud setups, cybersecurity being on top of everyone's mind, it expedited the overall need for small businesses to have right technology solutions, and where businesses were not really paying attention to cloud and cybersecurity. Now it kind of amplified the entire journey of a small business and the need of technical solutions. That means technical talent. A lot of people are having hard time finding technical talent. And we were kind of having a chat before this conversation, and you did talk about your report that got published today in Wall Street Journal. And I would love to talk to you about that report because that gives an entrepreneur a perspective on what technology solutions will be in demand, because the skills demand is directly related to the need of the solutions. So can you talk to us a little bit about that report and what what CompTIA see coming in 2021?
Yes. So a lot of folks know CompTIA for our certification pathways. And in fact, that's how I first got to know CompTIA, 20 years ago, building an IT service provider in California. We needed certifications and pathways. And but really the best kept secret from the channel is, in a way, our cyber states report that comes out annually. And we just dropped that and got picked up in the Wall Street Journal with coverage too, like you mentioned, which is great because we have this research available for free. And I really want to point you to our cyber states website. And I'll tell you a little bit about what we found there. But the pandemic, like we said, exposed things that we sort of already knew. But what's so interesting about this research is it's broad. It's across the whole country. So CompTIA estimates that the U.S. posted 30,000 new IT job listings in March, which raised to the running total of more than 300,000 vacant positions. That's one of the data points we have in our cyber states report. Interestingly, a third of those roughly are for experienced technology workers in sort of emerging fields. So we can talk about this tight labor market. But if you think about how many open jobs there are and how many jobs are posted, we saw steady demand during the pandemic and we're seeing increased demand coming out of it. I think the third quarter is going to be on fire.
Yeah. And so IT by Design, as you know, we are a global company and we help our MSP friends with technical talent. And when it comes to providing that technical talent to help them with the NOC services, SOC services, or dedicated engineers team, we can only give what we have. So in order to have that technical talent available for MSPs, we got to acquire that technical talent as well. And I know how difficult it is to have that talent today. And when we are very intentional about finding all the creative ways, could be campus hiring, could be kind of really training or cultivating our own technical talent, bringing in from colleges. So we do everything. And it's still very hard to find right technical talent. And when it comes to the MSP channel, Amy, from this report, I see that, I did go over that report and so more from the machine learning being at the top and then artificial intelligence to cloud computing, data science, programming skills to cybersecurity skills. So when you talk about, solutions being used in MSP world, what are the technical skills that will be in demand and what IT professionals of today should focus on?
Yeah, it's a good question. So we also look at what skills are most in demand. And I'd say cloud is really the number one that is an MSP facing skill, and an emerging focus as well on data. The next certification that'll come out of CompTIA is going to be on Data Plus. We have A Plus, Cyber Plus, Cybersecurity Plus, and Network Plus, but really Data Plus is the next one we'll be launching because we see a demand for that too. And I think, it's interesting to think about this. We're competing at MSPs for folks with IT skills and to hire. And we're not just competing with other tech companies for them. We're competing with every industry. Because if you think about it, healthcare hires IT workers. Retail hires IT workers. It's not just a vertical market, it's a horizontal market. And I think, as we look at these skills that an MSP needs and we'll keep providing is of course cloud and security. But data is going to be an emerging one as well. So I think it's no wonder it's hard for us to find folks because every industry is going through rapid digitalization. I think the rush home to work remotely, of course, was a huge obvious push, but now we're going to be optimizing that and companies have realized the efficiencies they can gain. So we're going to be competing not just with other tech companies and MSPs for hires, but fortunately or unfortunately, other sectors. So we need to find good ways to develop that talent. Big push I'm working on is also apprenticeship, how we can really develop in-house training programs to grow and structure these growth plans for folks. Apprenticeship is something that's common in other industries, but we can really focus on that in tech as well.
Yeah. So when it comes to CompTIA, everyone is familiar with the CompTIA A+ and some certifications that have been there. Talk to me a little bit more about this data. Did you say Data Plus? What is that about, and what skills and competencies one can get certification? I mean, can you tell us a little bit about that data?
Yeah, that's coming. That's really business intelligence. So if you think about how organizations need folks to interpret data and transform it into feedback, to help them improve their processes and services and products, and working with that data science skill, we're seeing that as the next emerging add-on to the suite. And so it's how can we look at our data and use it. So we'll be seeing a certification role from CompTIA in the next year around that.
Okay, so it will be in 2021 or 2022?
It's going to be in 2022, I think.
2022. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay. We can publish if you don't have that.
I'm saying a year because I'm not sure. Yeah.
That's okay. That's okay.
We've kind of shifted things with the pandemic.
Yeah.
Let's go with a year from now, roughly. Yeah.
Yes, and yeah. So data science, because everything is, every business, as you said, healthcare to financial companies, every single vertical is becoming a technology company. Even financial companies, like we do a lot of business with New York City finance related businesses, and even bigger companies like Fortune 500 companies, they are becoming more like fintech. So where they used to lead with kind of finance as their domain, now they're like, we're not finance, with everything happening with Bitcoin and the way the financial companies are structured now, they're more dependent on technology, and they're calling themselves technology companies before they call themselves finance companies. So similarly with healthcare, and I think it's just every business that you look at, there's so much dependence.
It's really true. Yeah. And I think they're finding ways to, obviously they're looking at the same thing we are. How profitable can we be? How many people can we serve? How can we get leverage? How can we reduce our costs? How can we provide better services and products? And we've all been trained by technology companies from Apple to Amazon on how easy interactions can be. And I don't know about you, but I get super duper frustrated when I have to interface with a company that I can't efficiently book something with and or work with. And all that is all technology, right? And so I think also the pandemic really showcased some demand for things. When people went home to work, I think a lot of companies were surprised how much stuff was still happening half paper and half technology. And of course, when you decide to go to a remote workforce, everything has to go to technology. So that's accelerating demand as well. I think what people are doing is cleaning up stuff that probably should already been cleaned up.
Yeah. Yes. And especially a lot of businesses where they were not ready to adopt technology, especially the innovative way. And now they're a lot more open because they do not need to allow their people to work from home. They do need to have that information available to them from the cloud, anywhere type of solutions. So now, so Amy, talk to me a little bit about how CompTIA can help MSP businesses and professionals. So let's say
I think, yeah. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, so if I'm an MSP business owner or I'm an IT professional working for MSP, how can I avail some services that are offered by CompTIA for my skill set development?
I think a great place to start is our cyberstates.org interactive tool.
Mm-hmm.
We spend a lot of money and time creating this tool. And if you're in a major MSA, metropolitan area, we've drilled down to your data. And if you're in any state, we've got that state level data. And we refresh this data and you can interact with it and see what the leading occupations are in demand in your region. And you can also see the wages that are being paid. And this year we added, I think really wisely, also a diversity index. Interesting to see what states and what metropolitan statistical areas have more women. Of course, that's been a huge focus, getting women into tech jobs, because of course there's a place for everyone in tech. And then we also added ethnic data. So you can see a diversity score there just to raise awareness around that. But I think these postings, this information will inform you as an MSP owner around some of the real challenges and real market data there is. I think it's important to have that macro perspective. Of course, every region is going to have its microclimates, and I'm in one of those in California with the MSP my husband still runs, that I co-own, called Clever Ducks. And so we're halfway between LA and San Francisco and the coast. And so we have expensive real estate and we have competing markets, but we have huge quality of life. And so people want to live here and work here. And so we kind of punch above our weight class in terms of being able to attract people, but we're still, competing, and seeing those average salaries is a bit jaw-dropping as a small business. So I think being aware of that and understanding how you're going to navigate that universe, and that your potential hires and your employees are seeing this data is really important, because you ultimately are competing in that data set. And
thank you so much for joining me today.
It's my pleasure, Sunny. It's great to see you virtually or in person.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.